James and Daria, picture this. Empty shelves at Target, something we haven't seen since the pandemic. Sound familiar when we couldn't find toilet paper back then?
Today we're learning Walmart is closing its office in Charlotte. A spokesperson telling us it's part of a strategy to increase collaboration, innovation, and speed.
Target and Walmart are closing stores across the U.S., and it's not due to poor performance. What we're witnessing is the aftermath of a trade war that's still shaking the retail industry. Under the Trump administration, tariffs on Chinese imports soared to 145%, triggering supply chain disruptions, price hikes, and strategic overhauls for major retailers.
As the Trump administration continues these negotiations with trading partners, those higher tariffs are already having real impacts on American businesses and their supply chains.
Target is reportedly planning to close nearly 2,000 stores by the end of June 2025, while Walmart is shutting down select locations to optimize its network. These closures reflect broader challenges. Macy's is cutting 86 more stores, citing tariff pressures and declining consumer spending. So the question is, what was this trade war supposed to fix, and is the cost to American retail worth it? The U.S. is knee-deep in one of the most aggressive and unpredictable trade wars in modern history, and it all started with a promise.
I'm not going to say, oh, I'm going to play hardball with China. I'm going to play hardball with you, President Xi. No. We're going to be very nice. They're going to be very nice.
As soon as Donald Trump returned to office, he placed high tariffs on China, Mexico, and Canada, saying it was because of national security and unfair trade. But it didn't stop there. The list kept getting longer. Most major trade partners were hit too, including Europe, Japan, India, and Colombia. These were not even mild adjustments. Chinese imports faced up to 145% in tariffs, European goods up to 50%. Even close allies like Canada and Mexico were slapped with 25% tariffs on steel, aluminum, and car parts. Trump called them reciprocal tariffs, meaning if another country charged the U.S. would match it. But that logic triggered a chain reaction. China struck back with its own wave of tariffs on American soybeans, pork, and tech. The EU threatened bourbon and jeans. Canada and Mexico hit back. It spiraled fast and turned into a global standoff. Prices went up, patience ran out, and predictability got thrown out the window. Supply chains faltered, prices crept up. American companies lost over $34 billion in sales and logistics, and just in the first quarter of this year, the economy shrank by 0.2%, which is the first dip in years. A ruling said Trump overstepped, but an appeals court paused the block. Now everyone is waiting on the Supreme Court while the tariffs remain active and businesses stay stuck. So if it feels like everything at the store is more expensive, more limited, or more unpredictable, you are not imagining it. And this is not just about steel or soybeans anymore. Cars, clothes, tech, food, in short, everything is affected. Global suppliers are pulling back and countries are distancing themselves. Japan, Canada, and the EU are all bracing for more fallout. And here at home, the pressure is increasing with each passing day, especially in sectors closest to American families where price hikes, supply gaps, and policy whiplash are hitting hardest. That's where retailers like Walmart and Target come in. Trump's return to the White House brought aggressive tariffs roaring back, and for a company like Target, which depends heavily on imports, the pressure was immediate and intense. In case you missed it, Target does not manufacture its products, it imports most of them. So when Trump raised tariffs on imports up to 145%, that was a fire alarm for their entire business model. Now imagine trying to price your summer patio sets or kids' backpacks while the White House keeps raising and pausing tariffs week after week. That's what Target has been dealing with.
Target has been seen as being, not quite so good value for money over recent years.
In the first quarter of this year, Target sales slipped further than anyone expected. A 2.8% drop in revenue brought their quarterly earnings down to $23.85 billion, short of what Wall Street had hoped. Compare that to $24.53 billion from the same time last year and you will get the picture. And this is not some isolated blip. Target itself warned that 2025 will likely end in a full-year sales decline, even though they were still expecting growth just a few months ago. But what is causing this pullback? Well, tariffs are a huge piece of it. Target won't say exactly how much of the price increases are due to Trump's trade war, but behind closed doors, they are scrambling. Adjustments are happening every week. Some prices going up, some forced back down just to stay afloat. CEO Brian Cornell claimed that they are watching the competition and reacting in real time. But when your cost base is this unpredictable, you are not leading. You are just surviving. And to make matters worse, politics have crept into the store aisles. The culture war over DEI and LGBTQ visibility has made Target a repeated target. But this is not the first time the company has faced backlash.
Target is the latest company making changes following backlash over its LGBTQ+ support. These images are some of the items available for Pride Month. The company says it is pulling some of the other products from its stores nationwide ahead of Pride Month in June.
After promoting Pride-themed merchandise in 2023, conservative backlash hit hard. The company scaled back. That, in turn, triggered a second wave of outrage, this time from progressive customers who felt betrayed.
The dollar. Black churches have come together to boycott Target for 40 days during Lent because the giant retail store rolled back its DEI initiatives.
So now Target's caught in a double boycott. One side thinks they have gone too far. The other thinks they have sold out. And no matter what they do next, someone is mad. This is not a rare scenario anymore. It has become the norm for large retailers trying to navigate identity politics while maintaining broad appeal. But Trump's administration didn't make it easier. In fact, it dialed the heat up even more. Trump's allies in conservative media began actively pressuring corporations to walk back DEI programs. Lawsuits followed, legal threats intensified, and every corporate annual report this year, including Target's, now includes detailed risk disclosures about political backlash, reputational damage, and activist pressure. That's not normal. Meanwhile, on the operations side, the tariffs just kept stacking up. Let's be honest, if you are a retailer in 2025 and your entire pricing strategy depends on what Trump tweets next, you are already in trouble. What's really stinging Target right now is the fall in discretionary spending. That's retail speak for stuff you don't need, but usually love to shop for. This includes cute tops, kitchen gadgets, and those $5 throw pillows you don't plan on, but always buy. All of that is down a lot. And that's the core of Target's appeal. They are not a grocery-first store like some of their rivals. They sell the fun stuff, and in a trade war economy, the fun stuff's the first to go. Store traffic is shrinking. The number of purchases made per customer is falling. Online sales are up slightly. They were 4.7% in the last quarter, but in-store transactions dropped nearly 6%. That's a serious gap. And even online gains cannot carry the full weight of the retail floor's losses. Now let's also talk about Target's stock. It has taken a beating. Over the past 12 months, shares have plunged more than 37%. That reflects more than just quarterly misses. It's about investor confidence. Wall Street is losing faith that Target can adapt fast enough to unpredictable policy swings and rising public pressure. And the board is not sitting still. New management structures are being tested and more price-focused inventory is being added, items under $20, for example, to catch customers who have become more budget-conscious. Still, the bigger picture is not just about sales or stock prices. It's about how a major American retailer became ground zero for both Trump's trade war and America's political divide. Every time tariffs hit another category, Target has to reprice, reshuffle, or rethink its next move. Every time a DEI policy is rolled back, they lose one customer and enrage another. They cannot win. They can only try not to lose too much. Like Target, Walmart has had its own problems after Trump imposed the tariffs.
Walmart says their first quarter profits slipped and they have to raise their prices as a result of the tariffs, threatening their low price model.
So the thing is, Walmart is not just a random retail store. It is the biggest importer in the U.S., the largest private employer, and one of the few companies that can shift entire markets with a single quarterly report. And right now, it is neck deep in one of the most unpredictable trade messes modern retail has ever seen, and it all circles back to Donald Trump's tariff war. Walmart depends heavily on imported goods. About 60% of its products come from overseas, particularly China. This includes everything from clothes to electronics to toys, basically the stuff that fills your shopping cart. So when those new tariffs landed, Walmart was first in the line of fire. The cost of goods started rising immediately, and someone had to absorb that spike. At first, Walmart tried to keep it quiet, but by spring of this year, they could not hide it anymore. Executives admitted prices were going up. Items like children's car seats made in China jumped by $100. Other everyday items, from tech gadgets to storage bins, quietly crept higher on shelves. Then Walmart did something bold. CEO Doug McMillon came out and confirmed that these hikes were tied directly to Trump's tariffs. They were done holding back. McMillon basically exposed that these policies are wrecking their supply chains and they are being forced to pass the pain along to customers. Now, instead of acknowledging the massive cost pressure Walmart was under, Trump did what he usually does. He threw them under the bus. He slammed the company publicly, saying they should be patriotic and absorb the tariffs themselves instead of pushing them on American families. This feud got messy. On one hand, there is a global corporation trying to stay afloat in a landscape where prices change from week to week. On the other hand, there is a president chasing an economic ideal that does not match retail reality. And caught in the middle are literally millions of everyday Americans just trying to buy diapers, t-shirts, and garden hoses. To make things worse, Walmart has started trimming fat where it can. In May, they confirmed the layoff of 1,500 corporate jobs. This included positions in e-commerce, fulfillment, advertising, and global tech. The official word is that it is part of a restructuring strategy to stay lean. But anyone paying attention knows what's really going on. This is damage control. Walmart is not sinking, but it is definitely leaking. The company's quarterly report still showed a 3% rise in sales, hitting $112 billion, but they didn't offer a profit forecast for the next quarter. Why? Because no one knows what comes next. So what does all this tariff drama actually mean for the real world? Let's not sugarcoat it. The consequences are stacking up. And it's not just Target or Walmart feeling the heat, it's the entire retail ecosystem, from factories to shopping carts. When Trump slaps tariffs on imports, it's businesses that pay for it, and ultimately, it's us, the consumers. According to the Peterson Institute for International Economics, American importers, not Chinese exporters, are the ones footing the bill. That means retailers like Walmart and Target are getting squeezed in the middle, forced to pay more for goods they use to get cheaper. Now, in a perfect world, companies could just eat that cost. But this is not a fairy tale. Retail runs on razor-thin margins. Walmart's net profit margin is typically around 2 to 3%. That's pennies on every dollar. So when a shipping container full of Chinese toys or electronics suddenly costs 25% more because of tariffs, guess who is picking up the tab? Yes, you are. And that's just prices. There is a deeper disruption happening beneath the surface: supply chain chaos. The whole reason we have fast, cheap goods in the first place is because of decades of fine-tuned global supply routes. You disrupt one of those key arteries, like Chinese manufacturing, and everything gets delayed, rerouted, or flat-out unavailable. That's already showing up in logistics reports. Shipping lead times are stretching, inventory levels are misaligned, and some importers are even abandoning China altogether, scrambling to shift operations to Vietnam, Mexico, or India. That might sound like a smart pivot until you realize it takes years to build reliable supply chains in new regions. Now let's zoom out. What does this mean for the U.S. economy? Well, the retail industry accounts for nearly 1 in 4 American jobs and over $7 trillion in annual sales. When big retailers start raising prices, cutting jobs, or delaying store expansions, that ripple spreads fast. Local suppliers suffer, warehouses downsize, contractors lose work, and consumers tighten their belts. It's a domino effect, one that economists are now calling a slow bleed. And don't think this ends at the checkout aisle. Politically, this whole tariff crusade is shaping up to be a ticking time bomb. Because the trap is that if Trump doubles down on tariffs, he looks tough on trade, sure, but if prices keep rising and retail layoffs escalate, voters will feel it. Not in theory, but in their wallets. And the sad part is that not everyone is affected equally. Luxury brands will be fine, of course. Their customers are not pinching pennies. But stores like Walmart, Dollar General, and Target are the ones that serve everyday Americans.
Prices are just too on the high side. It's on the high side, especially for middle class, low income earners, it's tough.
When their prices spike by 10%, it's devastating for low-income households. The people who rely on Walmart for groceries, clothes, and baby formula don't have the cushion to absorb that hike. So what do? They buy less, they delay purchases, or they start choosing between food and rent. Meanwhile, small businesses that sell through retail chains are also stuck. They either raise prices and risk losing shelf space, or lower margins and risk going broke. There is no good option. Politically, it's a gamble. Trump's playbook bets on American manufacturing bouncing back, but the data just does not support that yet. Manufacturing output has barely budged, and U.S. companies are not racing to build new factories. They are too busy trying to survive the cost chaos. So unless we see a massive shift in domestic production, these tariffs might backfire. Instead of bringing jobs home, they are inflating prices, killing demand, and weakening retail giants that anchor local economies. And the longer this uncertainty drags on, the more companies will hesitate to invest. Why launch a new product if costs might spike next month? Why sign a lease on a new store if consumer demand is in free fall? That paralysis is already slowing growth in key retail sectors like furniture, electronics, and apparel. The bottom line is that the consequences are real and growing. It is becoming a full-blown economic storm, and retailers like Walmart and Target are just trying to keep the lights on without burning out. Do you still think this trade war is helping anyone, or are we all just paying the price now? Drop your thoughts below, and before you go, don't forget to subscribe for more updates on the situation. Thanks for watching.